Hello, hello. Welcome. I am Valgan. I don't remember if I streamed last week, but it feels like it's been a bit. No, I didn't stream last week. I was on vacation. Right, that was it. That's why it's been a bit. But hi, welcome back. I'm Valgan. I do Udon tutorials and programming for Udon assets, native C#, or just standalone Unity applications. And we are going to be... Ow. Sorry, I bit my tongue like 20 minutes ago, and I'm really feeling it. But we are going to be working a bit more on the puzzle kit that I made a while back. I think it was during October I was working on this. As just kind of like an example for making puzzle games for VR chat. And whether it's that I've played Portal again recently, or the VR chat's local build and test doesn't work for multiplayer testing for me right now, or some combination of them both, I really wanted to dive back into this and add a little bit more to this. Let's see here. I'm actually going to pop this off screen so that I can log in. Oh, hey, welcome. How is it going? I'm just logging in off screen here. My two-factor authentication code. There we go. Perfect. All right, I'm logged in. I'm actually doing pretty good. I've really had a burst of inspiration to do a bit of room reorganization. So it's I'm a little bit exhausted from having completely reorganized half of my apartment. So this is something that I'm actually going to appreciate as a bit of a relaxation project today. Reorganizing my room is one of those things that I do find quite relaxing, just not physically. So something to sit down and just think about some programming. But yeah, the plan today is to work on a bit of some extensions to the puzzle game or puzzle kit that I built out back in October. And I'll be honest, I kind of just want to do some Portal-like assets. So we'll have a folder in here called kits, and it's a folder sci-fi. So models, prefabs, scenes. And the way I want to set this up, I don't want to have bespoke scripts for these kits. I want to have all the scripts be handled in the base systems that I built out. So I won't make a scripts folder for here. Let me just pull up some reference on another thing I've got here. Let's see, Valgan. I worked on a project a while back that I really enjoyed. Honestly, it might make sense for me to just reuse those assets. Yeah, okay. I'm here struggling trying to make a player object pool system and make it synced so if players toggle their own tools to show for others and only the owner can toggle and interact with them. But it's not going well. Okay. Let's see here. A player object pool system. Let's think. So if a player toggle their own tools to show for others. Well, that shouldn't be too bad actually. Because we have VRC player objects now, and the only thing that you'd have to sync is a bool as to whether or not to show them. Sign player object pool. Yeah. So these days we actually have VRChat's own object pooling, or player object pooling. So we can actually set an object to be instantiated once for every player, and it gets created when that player joins, and it gets destroyed when that player leaves. And only they have any networking ownership over those objects. So the thing that you're actually here, let me change around some stuff here. Let me get the tutorial project open. It's been a hot minute, so I'll have to update the SDKs in it. But I'd actually be fine going through a bit of a project for that, because that's not actually too difficult, though. I can understand that it would not be intuitive with the history of how these kind of tools have existed. I'm just opening it up here in a side project. The only issue with that part is one of the tools has code which needs to stay active if it's destroyed. It removes the information on that tool. It just needs to stay active. I'm not sure I'm entirely catching and following. What is the actual system that you're putting together? Like, what are these tools that are being used? I have a bucket which is a inventory. If the toggle off the bucket, you'll lose any items they put in the bucket. So, okay, what is this thing? Bucket, which is a inventory. If they toggle off the bucket, they lose any items they put in the bucket. Is it... Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what it is that you're putting together, unfortunately. I might not be an incredible amount of help on this, unfortunately. I have it working properly, it's just the mesh being synced with everyone, so all players can see the pickaxe and bucket. It's not just like a mining game. Oh, so you want it, you want the pickaxe to always be visible to the local player, but only visible to remote players sometimes? Is that right? Just opening up something here. I'm trying to make it so when local player toggled on their tools, all players can see it. Well, there should be a game object toggle. What is it that's being lost, I guess? I guess maybe that's the part that I'm getting tripped up with. But whatever it is you end up going with, I highly recommend checking out the VRC player object component. It is likely going to be what you're actually after and give you the functionality that's a lot more useful for this kind of effect. The reason the sign player object pool is deprecated is because of that new component that's implemented. What is it that you ran into issues with when you say that you've tried it? Because presumably you stepped away from using it. Is my when I had it on, it did give players the objects, but it's setting it each player has an owner, so only that player can toggle their own tools. To me, that sounds like what you want, so I guess I'm not quite catching what it would be that you're running into, unfortunately. For now, though, I will just kind of start putting together some new models for this. Oh, it's not doing that. Well, okay. Let's go over to Unity here. Here, if I minimize this Unity, does it capture the other Unity? Or is it just going to... Oh, I may have to close this project if I'm trying to... Okay, there we go. So let's put together... Oh, what should I call this? Players, player object item, oh man, even if I do like build out something, I'm not entirely sure how useful it's going to be, because my local build and test doesn't work with multiple clients right now. So I wouldn't even be able to test and verify that any of the syncing works. That's been one of the main reasons why for a lot of my recent projects I've kind of been not really doing a whole lot when it comes to complicated network things or stuff like that, or just remotely at all, because it's just like right. I'm whenever I try to do like build and test with multiple clients there, or I try to use the I'm blanking on what it's called, but yeah, the tool that is something you can launch from the creator companion. Both of those will launch VR chat perfectly fine in one instance. All other instances that launch with multiple clients are just a black screen and never load. I couldn't tell you why this is happening, but it is pretty consistent at this point. And I've tried uninstalling VR chat. I've tried clearing the cache. I have no idea how to get multiple local clients working again. I've just functionally lost that ability. Yeah, that as well. Yeah. Well, if you end up having if you end up coming up with a resolution to this problem, then feel free to let me know. Yeah. I'll just open up the puzzle kit project again. I just used that tool and it hasn't given you issues. Yeah, I've been running into the exact same issue using that tool. I couldn't tell you. So I guess I can try debugging that a bit off stream. But for now, I guess I'll deal with that later. Alright, well, if we're making off-brand Portal 2, might as well start with the button pedestal. They have like a little base to it, don't they? Okay. Move my reference model all the way. And set point 0. Looks about right. Okay. Sure, button. I guess we can give this some materials here. Once Blender compiles the shader viewer and unfreezes. I've had this issue since the Vulkan update. I don't know if it's something on my side where like shader compilation is done via, there we go. Where shader compilation is done via the CPU instead of the GPU on my machine, but it's been weird. Yeah, it tries to generate a preview for the material and then just like fails to ever do that. Metal, plastic, and accent. these parts. Actually no. We'll make these parts plastic, and this down here will be our metal. I have an idea for this. Not entirely. Let's see if I can pull up a reference of some older work that I've done. Besides all that, those having to learn how to make shop cosmetic items to sell in worlds, but never worked with that before, and it's just doc information which I don't understand. Yeah, so the general idea for selling things in VR chat is that you have a udon product, which is your product, which is just a scriptable object that you fiddle with. So if I do create VR chat udon product, there we go. You can do like fetch details and stuff to match with the ID, but you'd have to set this up on the website. Then this udon product is checked via different stuff. VR chat docs are really weird sometimes. Well, okay. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm the one who wrote those docs, or at least part of them. So they might be a little bit on the weird side, I'll be honest. But if you have any questions about it, I can definitely help explain it. Once you have a udon product set up on your account, what you need to do to actually sell that is add it to a listing, so that you can buy. When someone buys something, it tells this udon product that you have purchased it. And when the reason that products and listings are separate is so that you can have multiple udon products in one listing. Just as a way to make some things easier. Like, let's say you have 3 tiers of stuff. Well, you can have udon product hat toggle or something, I don't know, in the first tier. But if you want to enable that with the second tier as well, you just have that udon product in both of the listings. So that you can stack things pretty easily that way. Now, do I wish you didn't have to jump back and forth between Unity and the website like 30 times in order to do that process? Yeah, that kind of sucks. Excuse me. I definitely wish there was like an API interface for working with that in the VRChat SDK panel. You have the content manager, and this says your worlds and your avatars. But it would be nice if this had your udon products and stuff there. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Right. I was checking out. Oh crap! Where would I even find this? Do I have to download this from GitHub? So I made a 3D model for one of my girlfriend's projects a while back that was essentially a mounted turret. And I really like the art style I ended up doing for that. I'm curious if I can find that again. I might not be able to right now. Actually, let me find. Maybe she posted about it on Twitter? Sorry if this is suddenly becoming a really weird rabbit hole. This is... Wish there was a global sync prefab script you could make toggles global just by adding a script. There is, actually. So VRChat uses Udon Sharp in its setup for everything, and Udon Sharp actually has a set of utility scripts. So if you just go into actually, is this synced? I don't remember. So this example isn't synced. Okay. Oh wait, no, there's a folder here called synced. There we go. Yeah, so if you just go to Assets, Udon Sharp, Utility Scripts, and Synced, there's Global Toggle Object. And this script just turns an object on and off whenever it is interacted with. So whenever you click it. And this is just in your Unity project by default when you make a new one using the Creator Companion. So feel free to use this toggle script anywhere. In fact, since it's just a global toggle object script, you can just make a game object and type global toggle, and it autofills, and you can just add it like that. Is there a UI version so I can have a UI toggle? Well, by default, this isn't set up to immediately do that. However, if you know how VRChat handles their scripts, the interact event is internally referred to as _ interact with a lowercase I. So if you want, you can have that button target this script and do send custom event _ interact. And that should, I'm pretty sure, run this function. That one is less obvious, I will admit. Given that you kind of have to know how VRChat handles that. But it's really easy to work with, fortunately. Yeah, happy to help. Man, you collab with other world creators? Um, Not much anymore. I used to do a few projects with some people, but it's been really long since I've done a lot. Honestly, what you see on my streams is largely the extent of what I do with VR chat anymore. Like the prefabs and stuff that I do. I'm barely even on. I still like VR chat and stuff. I just a lot of my work has me working on other things in other places. And I've gotten used to the niceties of not working on VR chat. Man, I don't know where I would have stored these image references. Oh well. Yeah. Long story short, there is a model that I made for my girlfriend a while back for one of her projects, and I really like how the art style of that came out, and I would like to replicate that, but excuse me. Unfortunately, at the moment, does not appear to be something I just have on hand anymore. Excuse me. But what I do know is I don't actually like how I set up these prongs here. Do they look better if I extend them upwards? Not really. Oh well. This is a enough button to start, I guess. Excuse me. Just try and get some image references pulled up on the right window. We're sorry, you encountered an error trying to access that file. Dang it. Okay. Let's just fill with this then. Don't. Oh man, my brain is screaming at me too much to try to get that freaking thing. Alright, there is a hard drive somewhere near my computer that I'm going to find and plug in and find that freaking model. Give me 1 second. I'll still be able to read chat and stuff, but I will be not immediately at my PC. All right, drive plugged in. Let's crack this thing open. It should be in here. Unity backups. Alright. Full PC backup. Blender. Mounted turret. There we go. Give us like while it's loading. There we go. There she is. This is the aesthetic that I'm after. Alright. Gunmetal, aluminum accents, and orange metal, the rest of it. So let's make this a bit more orange. Okay. Rename this to be gunmetal. Increase the roughness a bit because it's usually a bit of a brushed material. That's looking alright. And plastic will be aluminum, except I'm gonna put that word into Google search so I can figure out how to spell it. There we go. Okay. So now, if we're following that design style, let's go ahead and get rid of the button that we have right now. That's at least the topper on it. Let's assign the whole thing to be gunmetal. Looks awesome. Oh, thank you. I really enjoyed working on this model, and it was actually just for a demonstration for a tool that she had built for basically controlling the IK for a player in VR chat. So like the general idea was you could physically grab these handles and the gun would ping back and recoil when it shoots, and it moved your hands as you did it. It was a very complicated system in order to have IK control over the player's model, and involved stations and animators and a whole bunch of stuff. But, oh man, I had so much fun getting this thing to work. Oh, and every time they fire, these white strips up here would glow orange or blue or whatever it was set to. Alright, so there's gunmetal, aluminum, accent, and light. That's the other one. So let's set this to be lights just to set up the actual emission. Let's just do that. Sensory 1. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, I had a lot of fun working on that project. The style really leans into cylinders, so I guess I'll... Whoops. I don't know what I pressed, but it deleted it, but I was going to delete it anyway. Let's do this. Let's drag down to 16. Let's add all the materials back. Gunmetal, aluminum, accent, and light. Out of order. I'm learning from your awesome tutorials. It's nice to work along with you on the stream. Yeah, happy to hear. Hopefully they're still a bit useful. They're not exactly the most up-to-date anymore, but here's hoping that you can still get some good use out of them. I think this should be slightly blue. Yeah, okay. Maybe a little brighter as well. Okay. So if we want this to be essentially this art style of the portal button, whoops. Then we need a base. I don't think we need any articulation, but we'll probably want to do something like this energy battery drum thing for the actual button itself. So let's just start by blocking it out, essentially. How do we want to do this? Do we just want it to be a solid pillar and an interact point on the top? Actually, it might make a lot of sense to let's go ahead and this playlist not auto repeat. It didn't. I have loop playlist enabled. Why does it keep doing this? Come on. Wait, why does loop playlist reset whenever it goes to the next video? I might have to stop using YouTube for my video playback. Or for my music playback for streams. Okay, I'm liking this. Alright, get an inset on each side. That do get the job done, and that's a problem. What you explaining is... You're explaining it too. Oh my god, I'm freaking dyslexic. Most of all, you're explaining it well too, which helps to get into the basics. Yeah, happy to hear. Yeah, really glad to hear that it's still turned out to be useful for you. Is there a clamp over? There we go, clamp overlap. Did you enjoy recording those videos? Did you think about updating them? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. At the time, I had, well, a lot more time to do those kind of videos. And while I still enjoy them, it's been a hot minute, and I'm working so much these days on not VR chat things that I'm never sure if I should really be jumping back into that. It'd probably be fine. It's just one of those things that's been so long for me. Um, I was making that look aluminum. That needs a bit more. Well, set to 0 metallic. Okay. There were a couple videos that I actively updated a few times, especially when networking changed for VR chat. Like when we got manual updates, I had to change how I did the synced toggles, for example, because my sync toggle script originally used send custom network event, but when they added manual sync, where you could manually send out a network update, that meant that it was the correct way to be doing toggles, and my videos weren't telling people that. So I needed to go ahead and resolve that discrepancy. Alright, these need to be marked as sharp. It shouldn't be this tight. It should just be tight. Let's go ahead and mark that as aluminum and this base plate as accent. It's great to see you care about your work. Yeah, I really do enjoy this kind of stuff because it's something that I feel like I am both good at and enjoy doing. And it is not often it's not often that people get to find something that really encompasses both of those. If you find something that you love doing and you are good at it, by all means, keep doing it. It is often a blessing. Yeah, I personally actually grew up on the farm, and there were a lot of things on the farm that I was very good at. But as you can probably tell by me being a software developer for VR, I did not stick with this profession. I did not stick with farming as my profession. Okay, this is coming along well. Alright, and these will be light strips. Then up here, I need to find some way to actually create the button for it. I worked and enjoyed working on avatars for over 4 years and became really good at it. It was like, I should make a world for my work and make some interesting stuff on it. And then I found out about Udon, and now I feel like 4 years ago. Well, happy to hear you're enjoying it. Whoops. Really buggered that one. There we go. I'm modeling a custom rocket launcher from Helldivers to animate for a commission. Oh, cool, cool. Actually, Helldivers was a pretty big inspiration for exactly this turret here, as you can probably figure out pretty easily. I really like the mounted turrets that you can just sit down on and use in Helldivers. So it was a pretty big inspiration, both physically and stylistically. Though, as you can probably tell from the individual giant hinge points, we went with a bit more of a stylized approach than the hyper realistic art style that they went with for the actual game proper. One day I should probably look into what they did art-wise for Helldivers 1. Because Helldivers 1 was a really interesting game in a lot of ways. Because basically everything's there. Like, all of what we know as Helldivers, just in terms of like the world building, the story, what a Helldiver is, all that stuff, it's all there. But most people have never played it. So it's just really interesting to see the old version of that same IP identity. Yeah. Yeah, gotta stylize for the sake of optimization often. I also find it a lot easier. Stylized mechanical stuff is a lot easier for me to model. Whether or not I'm doing it right, well, it's probably functionally a sin to be modeling these kind of hard surface things exclusively destructively. Like, I barely ever use booleans. I really should start doing it, but when I was learning this originally, my computer was so crap that if I had 2 booleans on something, I was going to crash Blender, if not my computer. So I just really got in the habit of just making all of my edits manually. May not be the greatest thing to have trained myself to do, but oh well. Alright, I want to keep the same profile here, so... I'm gonna do this. Have a PC until yeah. I ran VR off of a laptop for about 3 years. It worked pretty well. The laptop that I had at the time was not slacking, but it was not a desktop PC, and I was not running standalone VR. Alright, let's add some little light inserts here near the top. I double inserted. Okay. And then down. Okay. So if we make these aluminum, and then this inset light. There we go. Same with the laptop. My friend Anna borrowing his old laptop. It was so much stuff. Ugh, understandable. I think this should probably be less blue immediately. Thanks to him, I built what I have now, though, and still this day, I'm super grateful for what we do. Yeah. Always cool when you got someone to kind of help you out with that stuff. I'm actually gonna restart on this. Because I want to inset this a bit. No. I'm not entirely sure what to do for this connector. Maybe I'll just leave it like this. This is fine for now. I can certainly come back to it. Oh, I haven't saved yet. Right. Let's go back to Unity. Puzzle kit. Kits, sci-fi, models. Show and Explorer. Copy. Dot sci-fi props. I'm putting a dot at the beginning of this file name because that will make Unity not import it. I do not want Unity to be importing blend files at any point because it breaks a lot. What if I do come from a small village and graduated from being a mechanic? Yeah, one of the first things I was doing in VR was working with, what's it called? A VR live theater production. And one day when we were getting ready for a show, I looked out the window and our goats were running up the road. So a lot of the team got a big kick out of the duality of me working on live VR theater stuff and being on a farm with the goats running up the road. Gotta ask, when you were doing teleportation, you spent a while showing inside Udon graphs and then just made 3 lines of code, and I'm stuck with if I should learn a whole coding language. Well, fortunately, if you end up doing stuff with Udon graph, doing Udon Sharp instead really is just turning that into text. So you already learned the what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's the how you're doing it that changes. You still use functions, you still use variables, you still use methods on different things. So they're functionally, if you're just starting out, whichever one you like more. I personally will always prioritize using Udon Sharp over Udon Graph for all of my personal projects, simply because I do a lot of editor tooling. And that's, for example, we have like a drop down for event targets and stuff like that. If I want to have any kind of custom fanciness in the inspectors, you cannot do that with Udon Graph, and you can't even make adapters to make that happen. I would say Udon Sharp, since it is quote unquote real programming, has a little bit higher of a like a barrier to entry, but it has a much higher skill ceiling than Udon Graph. You can do a lot more with it in the long run, but at any point you can start learning Udon Sharp as well. Honestly, if you are not sure which to start with, do both. All of my tutorial videos, I do in Udon Graph first, and then I do them in Udon Sharp. God, sorry, I bit my tongue earlier today, and some words, when I pronounce them, I just feel the fact that I bit my tongue. But yeah, if you're really not sure which one to start out with, literally just come up with a project, be it like following a tutorial video or setting up a synced toggle from scratch, and build it in both. And do that a couple times and figure out which one you like better. Yeah, the left side of my tongue is a bit bunged up from me accidentally chomping into it. Alright, well, I have made the portal, or our sci-fi interact button. Perhaps now I shall make our brand agnostic cube that you pick up and move around. Easy enough. I guess we just start with the... I think, yeah, a 1/4 meter cube I think is probably going to be a good point for us. Just have to figure out what we want to do with it. Yes, I do in fact have a Discord server, so if you have any questions or if you have any issues with like my prefabs or things that I have there, feel free to jump in and toss in a question or search to see if someone's already asked it. Let me see about coding. I don't understand how the whole line separation and end works at all. It's also confusing. Yeah, I'll be honest, I did start going to college for programming. I failed all of those courses and became an art major, but I program for a living now, so take that as you will. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just gonna use that as a sign of my college was bad at teaching it. Alright. There's a primary body gunmetal. Let's see, gunmetal aluminum accent light. Accent, and then light. There we go. It's important you're doing what you enjoy. Yeah, I have certainly been more than happy to work on everything I've been doing. I want to turn this into like a frame, but I forget a good way of doing that. Delete only faces, then solidify, and skin. I don't think that's right. Is it just skinning? No. Alright, let's do generate. Maybe it is just solidify. Do I just need 2 solidify modifiers? No. Well, let's just do it the stupid way. Hello, how's it going? Pretty good, yeah. Just doing some modeling for some sci-fi versions of props for the puzzle kit stuff. This turret over here, we're using as kind of a reference because I made this for a previous project that I really enjoyed, and I kind of want to reuse that art style for this one. So we have our pedestal button, and I'm trying to remember how to make a frame really easily out of this. Yeah, I am not recalling. So I think I'm just going to do it the stupid way. Yeah, let's swap this to being gunmetal. Just have a solid cube with the wireframe modifier. Is that it? How do I make it do the... Because I don't want this pinch here. I want it to be a proper cube. This is definitely getting closer to what I want, but it's not quite there. Like, all the geometry is there. I just want like this to be flat, flush with the outside. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do this the stupid way. So I'll be just doing this and this. You can alt scale the insides to match the outsides. I can't seem to use alt scale with this, especially because the... What I go into... I'm not sure. Or do you mean just using it to after you apply it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was hoping for some way to apply that mid effect. Yeah, let's just zero this out. Oh, this came out at like a weird distance actually. What did I set that to? Oh, oh, I really don't know what these settings do. Oh well. Let's go ahead and just do it the dumb way then. That's 0.05. Then we bridge that. And now, boom, boom, boom. Merge by distance, and we do now have a bunch of interior geometry. There we go. So let's just delete faces. Perfect. You'll love to see it. I think I want to do about that frame size. Maybe I'll just stick with this and then work from there. Oh, I don't have a glass yet. Gloss. Oh, is there like a... Oh, right, okay. You don't change the alpha there, you change the alpha here. I want to change this so it's not dithered transparency. I want where have they moved this? It was right next to alpha previously. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. But now I have this. So let's go ahead and add some stuff. Yeah, I think just doing the same as this would probably be fine. And maybe we inset this, I think, would be... Yeah, that's feeling good. Work by selection. And array. There we go. Now let's give this some aluminum edge trimming. Too thick. What do I want to do that on the insides? Actually, yeah, I think that'll work good. What happens if I... Oh, here, let's... Alright, so now we can get rid of the unneeded internal loops here. Connecting that. And just dissolve those edges. And bring our glass back in. Now, let's just select this entire face here. So let's go ahead and deselect these internal ones, actually. What time is it for you? It is currently 5:20 for me. So my streams are from 4 to 6. So I do a 2-hour live stream from 4 to 6 on Thursdays. I try to have them every week, though, as you can probably tell, that's been not incredibly consistent. For example, I wasn't here last week because I was in Canada visiting my girlfriend. It was really nice. So, my apologies for skipping out on y'all. However, I like my girlfriend. She's very nice. Yeah, I think this is fine enough cube. Now we need a thing for the cube to go on. So let's see here. This is generally the space I want it taking up. Yeah, I think we can do a lot of the same stylings as this had. So let's go ahead and make a little bit of a bracket thing. Alright. Now let's bring in a cylinder. Single shrink notch. And this in a bit. Gunmetal, auto smooth. Let's grab our good old. Nope, I don't want new. I want accent. Just gonna do this whole frame here will be accent. Then down here. Okay, actually, I'm going to snag this for 1 second, just so I can fix this so I can get some loops. The loops. The loops. Alright. Now, one of the things that I made on here were these kind of like vent fans. Or fan vents. And I'm actually really surprised at how well they turned out due to how simple the thing was that I did to make them. Maybe I don't want to do it with this. Yeah, I'll do that on a different part. What do you do for a living now? Yeah, so I am still a programmer. I actually am still programming for VR software. The project that I'm currently working on, I don't believe has been formally announced, so I won't go announcing anything and just get everyone angry at me. But it's something that I have been quite enjoying. So it is VR. It is using Unity, and it is taking up a lot of time. I'm certainly enjoying working on it, though. It's been a really interesting challenge because it's using a lot of very new things that Unity is very new to. 90 right. Yeah, really enjoying it. And I look forward to showing everyone when it's out. Or at least when it's finally announced. Alright, now I want another cylinder. Sit here. Bring on the gunmetal. How do I want to do this? I don't want this to be too tall, because I want it to still be easy for the player to walk onto. Yeah, that's looking right. Mark that sharp. I think this can probably be aluminum. H. To you, I also say H. I know not what it means. Welcome. Hello. Welcome. Yeah, we're working on some props in a sci-fi style for my puzzle game kit. This turret is one that I made in the past and is being used for reference for the art style. A lot of what I did on this one is little details on top of what are deemed as necessary parts. Whereas I feel like these keep getting more and more unnecessary in the thing that I'm modeling. Nice. Ah, welcome. Just trying to figure out what the balance is. Struck gold, mate. Ah, thanks. Do the turrets speak? Well, the turrets isn't actually technically part of this project. So not yet. Now, do I have a list of all of the props that you can place from the Portal 2 level editor up on another screen? Yes. But, actually, maybe I'll have that as like a securing mount. That might actually make a lot of sense. Okay. Then solve these. Then let's go ahead and Y separate those. I'm gonna snap to vertex. Oops. Okay. So now I have that. I can go ahead and merge by distance. And do a bonk, 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 and bonk. Now let me go in and just set those to be aluminum. Wow, cutesy fun VR gets lit up by 50 cal turret. Yeah. Is the cube going to animate in any way? I'm not entirely sure. I think, honestly, I'm not entirely sure I'm set on this cube design either. But what I think is I'll set this to be, so I have a light material that I put on things, and I think by default it'll be off and kind of a neutral gray, but I can crank them on and do stuff with that. So maybe it'll light up when it is on a button. Ah, man, this isn't getting what I wanted it to. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Alright, let's look at what we got here. I really like this platform base, so let's just go ahead and work with that. Which means the button itself will become gunmetal. With a insert of aluminum. Then we probably don't need a big square base for this. So let's just drop this. Drag this down. Snapping, go back to increment. Let's move it over here so it's easier to edit. Oh. Okay. I'm liking where this is going. Yeah, then let's give a circle strip in here that's inset. Or outset? Let's do outset, yeah. Let's do an outside, I guess, for the light. And then that with aluminum. I think that's looking good. All right. I guess for example's sake, we really should just be starting to put this into Unity. So let's hide these. Apply rotations, apply scales. Oops. We need to apply the array on this. Join. Button underscore pedestal. Button. Floor. And box. So that's not just cube. Alright. Now we can use the batch export tool. Export to that. I'm gonna use rawvx, use my export preset that I set up, and batch export to Unity. Behold, blah 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 blah. Let's go ahead and make a duplicate of this scene for sci-fi. So, did I fill that box in here? Yeah, I did. Perfect. Model box. Let's get rid of the mesh render, mesh filter. Box collider 0.6. No. 0.5. There we go. We'll make the same thing, but this box prop false. Give this the tag not a box. And this floor button here, okay, so we're going to floor how big do we want this? Just given the size of this cube, we could probably double the size of the body itself. So oops. It might make sense to have a similar shape in the middle here as we do on the box. Let's go ahead and give this the accent paint and this the light. Save, batch export, back in here. Prefab, unpack. Prefab, unpack. There we go. Yeah, so this one is using a box collider for this example. Let's go ahead and do yeah. Or, actually, nope. I know how to do this. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have a sphere collider, lower it, and make it wide. Oops. There we go. And since the rest of the sphere is always going to be in a wall or in the floor. Nice and easy. Is this the best way to do this? God, no. However. Yeah, I don't have a however. And you're gonna be our pedestal. I have to go sleep now, so late. Yeah, I'll be shutting down here at the end of the hour, so another 12 minutes. 1 a.m. for you. Wow, okay. Yeah, go get some sleep. See you another time for sure. See you around. Yeah. Yeah, you have a good time. Great having you. Alright. It's already supply 1, 5, 4. Alright, gonna have to fix that. Calculate outside, batch export, save. There we go. Perfect. So this needs to be 0.45. Yeah, that's the right size for this. And I guess just make sure that this is all working. All right. Well, there's a little bit to clean up here. This is just the visual of this button being on the floor. Floor button. Bulk. And you should have a mesh collider convex. Why is this hitting against me? Is this not on the pickup layer? Or is it on... This probably should be on the walkthrough layer, actually. Yeah, okay. Things that you want to trigger in a... Well, trigger... need to be on the walkthrough layer so that they act basically the same as the pickup layer, but can actually interact with the mirror reflection layer, which we use to allow for collisions that don't screw up the player's raycast. So this one, put that on the mirror reflection. Okay. That seems to be working out quite well. Perfect. I definitely want to spend more time fiddling with this stuff. It's a tool set that I really enjoy and honestly plan on doing more with. But given that everything is working at the moment, I think this might actually just be a good spot to call it for today. I know we have a couple more minutes, but it'll probably be a good one for us to just start shutting her down here. Yeah. Where's the button? There we go. Thanks for everyone being here. It's honestly been a great time. I really look forward to doing this again next week. I know it's been a bit of a calmer, easier stream today. Again, I was a little bit worn out today by all the room renovations that I've been doing here in my apartment. But yeah, great having you. Really looking forward to seeing everyone next week. Until then, see you around.